welcome back for another season. I'll tell you what, I am Jack Johnny Angel Hunt. Welcome to Bridging the Gap. This is my partner, Byron Nash.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back.
You know what, man? A whole bunch of stuff has happened since.
It feels like it, right?
Doesn't it, though? It's like we haven't really touched base in a couple weeks,
Yeah.
and it's nice to get back, and people are probably noticing already the change in me. It's the new fitness program of Byron Nash. And
Working on it, working on our music, working on our bodies.
now I've been trimming down to get ready for the summer, so we're good.
It's important to be healthy, man. Keep up with the busy schedule, you know?
Got to, brother.
Yeah, so what's been going on?
Just a bunch of stuff, man. I've been practicing with my vocals, trying to get them strong again.
Yeah.
Because for a while there, I was neglecting, and so that's one of the good things. I've been practicing my drums again, which I haven't done in a while. So
How's that going?
it's going great, man. It's
Good.
going really,
you seem
really
kind of
good.
amped, like get the music bug back. You
I'm
know?
ready.
I know you're missing it a little
Yeah.
bit, you know?
Yeah, this COVID thing really knocked the hell out of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll be glad to get back. I'm antsy.
It was, I can tell you're like ready to go. Yeah, I've been doing pretty much the same, but more.
Yeah.
And changing how I'm doing it. I mean, I was already gigging before, but now it kind of ramped up, and the styles
Yes.
of gigs are asking a different demand of me as an artist. You know,
Yes.
like playing 3 gigs in a day or playing longer ones and things like that. So along with like taking better care of myself, trying to take better care of the music as well.
And you've been on Facebook a lot recently, man. It's like,
Yeah.
and I like it. I like it, man.
Yeah.
It's like
It's like another job to
Yeah.
promote yourself. You need a publicist or something, you know. But no, things are going well. Things are great. I'm glad to get back on the show and kick into it. I bet you've been listening to some music.
I've been listening to
During
a
the break.
whole bunch of music.
Where you at now?
I've been going through phases. I was getting into jazz again for a while and blues, and then I went back to rhythm and blues, and then I went to rock. So there's like, I haven't been just focused on soul music, which is my
Yeah.
bag, you know. So I've been switching around. How about you?
I've been kind of all over the place. I'm sort of trying to like rediscover music.
Yes.
So I'm going back to a lot of old stuff, but I'm also listening to new artists on a different platform. So
Yes.
I'll turn on Spotify, put on so-and-so radio, and just let it play.
Yes.
And then when something really stands out, like really find
Absolutely.
that artist and kind of stick to that, just so I can continue to grow and hear new sounds and ways that people are producing music and things like that. How about your vinyl? I know you're still rocking vinyl.
Constantly with the vinyl. But well, I want to ask you a question. As a performer and entertainer, and you're doing it a lot, what kind of preparation do you do before you go out?
I like to have a lot of quiet time, I realized.
Okay.
I don't really want to listen to too much music before I play
Yeah.
because I know I'm always around it anyway.
Yes.
And I think I need some time to myself, a little bit of meditation, sometimes having like a healthy workout and just being home before going out, because it's not just the show, it's like you're being social and you're talking to fans and you're talking to the sound people in the club, and there's a lot of other output that comes along with
Absolutely.
it that can take away from the music. So I like to have that sort of solitude, you know, just a little bit of quiet time to focus on where I want to be for that performance. And I try to
Absolutely.
envision how well I want to play, like,
Sure.
and execute. How about you?
Mine's almost the complete opposite. It's better for me if I'm busier before I perform. I
How
don't
come?
even think about my performance because there's so many other aspects of the business, like making sure the guys are there on time,
Yeah.
uniforms are right, stage is correct. I have a bad reputation of being not mean to or picky with sound people. So
Just mean to picky.
yeah, because
know.
it's like they say that I'm very picky and I'm very demanding, and it's like when you've been doing something for 50 years,
Yeah.
it has to be right, and
Yeah.
it's like so.
It's standard.
I'm very demanding and I guess picky, so it's
I don't see anything wrong with that. As long as it's right, you wouldn't have to be extra picky, right?
absolutely. So we were talking about what music we're listening to.
Yeah.
What are you concentrating on this week?
So I've been, again, on the throwback, listening to old soul, and Earth, Wind, and Fire was like one of the main groups that my mom was into. And something about this is kind of funny because this connects to like Iron Maiden and heavy metal stuff too. But like the pyramids and the sort of like spiritual nature of it, and how, I don't know, for like, you know, it's just the era of black bands, you know.
Yeah.
Just the art was just
It
super
was.
fantasy and just kind of out there, and I was just really into their songwriting, even as a little kid, you know. But I didn't know, so I collect, you know, that that this was one of the originals, and here's
Yep.
the poster. I'll probably have to stand up, it's so big.
Yes.
I love the old schoolness of this. Like, original poster from, I don't think this is like 1977 or something.
Yep.
It just keeps opening.
Yeah.
And I need to find, like, I mean, come on. And that's, I don't know, this is part of why I'm the way I am. Just like growing up looking at things like this and bands, and I love how every person was like their own person.
And I know this guy that could frame that for you.
No, I was just about to ask. Do you know somebody? Because this will go in my house. But this record, I bought 2 of them, and so I have 2 of these posters, and I gave one to my nephew because we got into collecting so that he could have it. So,
cool.
Earth, Wind, Fire. I don't know if I can wrap this bad boy back up, but we'll work it out. We'll work it out.
Maybe we'll just frame it today.
Yeah, there you go. Whatever it is.
Well, let me grab
All right, what do you have?
I started, as I said, I've been listening to all different forms of music. And I pulled out Edgar Winter's White Trash album, which I absolutely love for a lot of reasons. When you think of Edgar Winter, and of course he was, you can't really consider him blues.
Yeah.
And you can't consider him rock.
It's like that weird gray area between.
And the thing I loved about it is all their songs had such depth to it, you know. And some of them have gospel feel. Some of them have a bluesy feel, soulful feel. So what I liked about it is it touches all genres. And when you think of Edgar Winter and Johnny Winter, you don't really think of this album. I mean, you think
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, this is my favorite. So it's Edgar Winter's White Trash.
Awesome. Is that 70s?
This would be 70s, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, late 70s. And when I was in a group called Harambe at the time, we were covering some of that stuff, and it was fun stuff to play.
I bet. Speaking of guitars.
Yes.
We have a guest today.
I'm looking forward to it again.
He can play.
The man can play.
Yeah.
He's a young guy with old school.
Yeah, I like that. I love that.
And we're going to chat with Tim Vitullo, and we're going to talk some music. We're going to talk rock and roll. We're going to talk just some fun stuff. Come right back. Tim Vitullo.
Jack in the Box.
Hey, welcome back to Jack in the Box. This week I want to talk about the post office. Remember when the days you used to go to the post office, it wasn't a drive-through, you walked in the lobby, they had pictures of wanted on the wall. These are the most wanted. The FBI's looking for these people, right? These are some of the classic, I'm talking about Bonnie and Clyde, I'm talking about Machine Gun Kelly, right? And it's really cool because these are actually the kind of things that were hanging on the post office wall back in the day. Now the key to this is, don't have your picture hanging on that wall. Welcome back to Jack in the Box. Hey, welcome back, and let me tell you, I'm sitting here with my buddy, Tim Vitullo, and let me set the stage for you. You see, I met both of these gentlemen on the same night. It was at the Liver Alliance for my wife. We did a concert over at the Roxy, and the thing that was crazy is there's 2 different venues of music, right? And both of these guys, they stole the show. We had a whole bunch of old people our age doing our stuff, and these young cats come up and just blew it away. You know what I mean? So I wanted Tim Vitullo, and of course you all know my partner Byron, right? So let's start this all off. We know how we got together, but I heard about you through mutual friends. It was your aunt and uncle, and this is how I truly met Tim. I used to have a jam session down at my restaurant at PNC Park, and his aunt kept saying, Tim plays, and we really want to bring him down. And I heard this for like 3-4 weeks, and no Tim shows up, right? So finally he shows up one day, and he don't bring his guitar. Okay, and I'm like, well, what is this all about? So then the next time he shows up with a guitar, and we bring him up. Now, I have Donnie Garvin in the band with me. Donnie Garvin's one of the baddest dudes on the planet, right? And I told him about this young cat playing guitar, and Tim comes up and rocks his place, right? and Donnie turns around, looks at me, and goes, which is really cool. But anyway, how'd you start, Tim?
Like most people start when you're a young guy, growing up, you're trying to find your place in the world. And I mean, if you look at me, I think the only thing they'd let me play on the football team is the goalpost. So that really wasn't going to work out. So I found I started taking piano lessons when I was a young kid, and sports really wasn't my thing, but it seemed like I was not too bad at that. And then I think it was around when we were 12 or 13, a couple kids down the street started a rock band. And that was the talk. Everybody was like, oh, these guys have a band. It's really cool. And my best friend at the time, we just were like, oh my God, people will not shut up about these guys and their band. Good, for crying out loud. So he played drums in the school band, and I played piano. We were kind of looking at each other, like, hey, we could do that. I bet we could do that. So I mowed lawns all summer and saved up and bought my first guitar and started playing. And it was like, it wasn't a particularly nice guitar, but I don't think, like, if I was upright, there was a waking moment that it was not in my hands.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did you know what style of music you wanted to play, or was it like were there early influences and you started with that and then it kind of led you on a path?
Yeah, so like when I was around that time, that was like all the like pop punk, like Green Day and Blink-182 and all that was on the radio. Okay. So that was obviously like what we kind of started doing. But I remember it like so vividly. My friend who played the drums, his dad, kind of played a little bit of guitar. And we practiced at their house because you always practice where the drum kit was.
Yep.
So you didn't want to have to lug that across the street. So I would come over and we'd be playing, and we'd be playing all the kind of stuff that was on the radio then. And he said one time, hey, let me play something for you. I think this might like turn you on. And he put on Black Sabbath's Paranoid LP.
That's right.
And just like hearing that like intro, it's slow, it's brooding, that like Fallout sirens going on. Like 13-year-old me was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Like, so many things in this world don't make sense to my teenage mind, but this does.
Yeah.
And that kind of started me down into like all the classic rock stuff. And then from there, just like being an absolute fanatic about all those old, classic rock bands. Found that like all my favorite tracks on all those albums were the ones that were really blues influenced and inspired. Okay. It was Since I've Been Loving You was like the Zeppelin track.
That's actually my favorite Zeppelin song.
Yeah, mine too.
That's my favorite one.
And I just kind of noticed that theme, and it was like, man, this is the thing that I'm really into, and then just kept chasing it back from there to all the Chess Records stuff, and even the scratchy kind of things and the hill country stuff, and all those old blues records that were kind of the source.
I have another question. I don't know the story or the answer to this yet, but what's your connection to a guy by the name of B.B. King?
Yeah. So
some guy.
Yeah, some guy. So I graduated from college and I moved back to Pittsburgh. I was 22 years old, and first thing, I didn't have a job, didn't have anything. I was staying with my parents. So of course the first priority was I got to find a band. That was like, okay, before we worry about a job or anything else, I got to find a band. So I was as we do these days, just kind of trolling through Craigslist and the classifieds. And it was, blues rock band looking for guitar player. And I was like, hey,
there it is.
That sounds up my alley. So it was funny. I showed up, and all the guys in the band at that time were kind of in their 50s and 60s, who'd grown up with all those records and, were there when they came out. John Mayall they bought it new on the shelf. Yeah. And they saw, because we were just emailing, okay, sounds great. And I walked down the stairs with my guitar at 22 years old. They all kind of looked at me like, are you going to play a joke on us? Or are you for real? Like, you actually want to play in a blues band? It's like, yeah. So aced the audition, which was great. Said you're in. And this was, end of the summer. So they, I came to a couple rehearsals. We used to practice twice a week. And I think it was like the 5th or 6th rehearsal. They said, hey, we got our first gig. I was like, great, where are we playing? They're like, we're going to open for B.B. King at the Benedum Center. And I was like, so I'm jumping in the deep end. Yeah. Talk about a first gig. It's just an absolute honor. Yes, at 22 years old, I still have trouble putting into words like how cool that whole experience was. The best part about it, so obviously Lucille, the guitar is, of equal repute to him, and kind of wrapped up in that legacy. So he had at the time a guy who was probably about like 6'8" and about as thin as a rail. He wore like a pinstripe zoot suit and the hat and everything. And his sole job was, if Lucille was not in B.B. King's hands, it was either in his hands or in a case in his hands. That was his. He was guitar detail. So the show was all over. and it, everybody was cleaning up and loading out. And this guy has the guitar on a stand, and he's wiping it down, because he just got done with his set. And I'm standing with the other guy in the band, and I just, it's kind of one of those, like, how many times are you going to get this opportunity? It's just, you're not. So I walked up to him, and I said, excuse me, and, I'll preface this by saying, if I'm putting you out at all, I apologize, and I totally understand. But just, would it be okay if I stood here right next to you, and I held that guitar, and he took my picture with you, just holding that guitar? And, again, very physically imposing guy. He kind of like, it was like an old pitcher winding up and just laid into me. He let me know that I was really putting him out by asking that. And I got dressed down verbally for about a good 5 or 10 minutes, and his arms are flailing around, and I can't believe you would ask me that. And he's going on, and he finally kind of like lets it all out. And I said, I'm so sorry. I apologize. Thank you. Have a great rest of your tour and everything. And we always used to go back because we took all the equipment back to where we rehearsed and unloaded it all together. And that was kind of nice. It was kind of an all for one, one for all. Sure. So everybody helped everybody else unload. And I think a big part of that, too, was I was 22 years old, and all these guys were like, yeah, you can carry my amp.
Right.
Yeah, here's my kick drum. Why don't you take that down the stairs?
Lesson learned.
Yeah, but
never touch Lucille.
Yeah, they were howling about it afterward. He told her, "You'll never guess what the kid did."
Oh man,
telling the story, and they were howling. So
that's where the age gap was, right there. They're
right.
You're like, hey, I had an idea.
And they were probably egging you on at first, going like, "Watch this."
Yeah, just throw me to the wolves. So very, very memorable first gig with that band.
We during our interviews, one of the things we like to do is throw 4 quick questions at you.
Sure.
Okay. And first thing that comes to mind. So the first thing I'm going to ask you, Tim, is tell me something old.
Live albums.
Live albums?
Nope. Like
nice.
I love live albums.
So do I.
They're good stuff.
I'm such a fanatic for the artists and the songs I love. I burn those records out. I've bought so many vinyl copies like over and over again because I wear them out, and that was always the coolest thing to me. Is like the live album is like the extended cut. It's it's the source. And I think back to like so many of my favorite albums by those artists. Like it's the live album. Like it's Band of Gypsies. It's Bill Withers at Carnegie Hall. It's Bill Evans at Village Vanguard. It's Coltrane at Village Vanguard. It's Frampton Comes Alive. And man, I don't know. I don't see a record label like letting that happen today, or like that being like the #1 album in the country ever again. It's kind of I'm a dinosaur. It's a lot.
That's good.
A relic, but I love them. It's like that's always the hip thing for me.
How about something new?
Something new. Tom Bukovac. He is not new, but so he's from Cleveland originally. He's a Nashville session guy, and he has been playing on records in Nashville. So during the pandemic, we were all kind of sitting around scratching our heads like, well, all my gigs got canceled, so what am I going to do? And especially couldn't be in a recording studio when that kind of all first happened. We were all still trying to figure out how that did. So his wife at the time said, why don't you just like get on YouTube and start giving free guitar lessons and asking for tips. So every day he'd get on in his garage, and you could see his cars in the background. He's got all these boxes and amps and everything stacked up. And it would just be like little, like, hey, here's a cool idea for like all you people out there. And it was kind of geared toward anybody. But he made a record last year. He kind of got enough tips, and all these people kept saying like, hey, we want to hear a record. It was my favorite album last year. It's all instrumental stuff. But he's, quickly become one of my absolute favorite guitar players.
Nice.
Tom Bukovac. And like cool, like the Midwest connection. Like,
It
just like feels great. But I listened to that so much last year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Something treasured.
Treasured. Probably like guitars. I'm starting to get a few more as I get older.
It could have been your picture with Lucille.
Yeah, could have been.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's just every guitar has a personality.
Yes.
And that's like the coolest thing about if you like somebody loans you one, or you pick one up at the store, or you bring one home. Getting to know all the quirks and the things, and like what can this one do, and it just I love those moments, and I try to be good about, hey, I'm kind of feeling like I'm stuck in a rut, and let me pick up something else, and it kind of takes me down this whole other rabbit hole and unlocks all these different creative ideas.
Cool.
Yeah.
Something true.
Junior Kimbrough. Junior Kimbrough is like the truest of true like bluesmen.
Oh, okay.
Like listen to those records and that's the thing.
Oh, okay.
Like yeah, go spin Junior Kimbrough. Either him or John Prine. Like that's
John Prine series.
Yeah, they're the dudes for me. Like.
Well, I learned a lot about you today, Tim, and I thought I knew a lot already, but I appreciate that, and I love the story. But what we want to do right now is we want to kick back just a little bit, and we want to do a jam.
Yeah.
Something easy?
Yeah.
Cool.
You cool with that?
Yeah, that sounds
I'm guessing
great.
it'll be blues.
I mean, it seems appropriate.
Yeah.
Stick around. We'll be right back with you with Tim Vitullo, and we are going to jam a little bit.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Byron's Bodega. So, today I want to talk about two of my favorite things, vinyl and jazz. I'm not a jazz musician, however, my grandfather, Harry Nash, was. He played trumpet, and when he passed away when I was very young, I wanted his trumpet, and I didn't get it. But then many years later, a distant family member found me online and said, hey, there's some records from his collection left over. Everybody feels like you should have them. So I ended up inheriting the remainder of his collection. This isn't all of it. There's cassettes and 8 tracks and stereo equipment, but this is it. And so I keep these records separate from my other collection because for the rest of my life I want to learn what he was listening to. And one of the first sort of blindfold records that I pulled out of it was Thelonious Monk, Mysterioso, live like 1958. It was still in a wrapper. I actually felt guilt for opening it. But I just wanted to share this with you because I love jazz and I love vinyl. And it's interesting that there's a family connection. Even though I didn't know my grandfather very well, he's completely present with me because I get to listen to these records every single day. Thanks for coming by the bodega. Am I starting off? You just
Yeah,
do the thing
1,
over it?
2.